Hey, everybody, how's it going? And welcome to another episode of the Impakt Podcast. My name is Jeff Welsh, and I'm the co founder and president here at Impact Results in Morgantown, West Virginia. And we have another exciting episode here with Bijan. I decided to bring Bijan in again this week. Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. Hello. How are you? Glad
I'm
to be
doing well.
back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's starting to get to be fall time here. As you can see, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt as opposed to t-shirt or polo. It's getting a little bit chillier, so we're phasing into a new time of year. How about how's the weather on your end?
Oh yeah, it's getting really cold here. I'm in my sweater. But yeah, it's
Uh,
like raining and gross outside today. The leaves
ugh.
are falling. I have a tree that's like halfway dead already. So it's we're getting
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah,
fall.
I have mixed emotions about this time of year. I partially like it for a lot of the activities, but at the same time, I'm not excited about the winter coming up, but it is what it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yep. Yep.
But anyhow, so all right, so what we've decided to do here, guys, is that in last week was the beginning of a series of episodes, not just with the podcast, but in a lot of the content that we're creating right now. We're talking about Black Friday specifically. That's the big talk of the season. This is our biggest time of year. This is the time of year where we can do the most for our clients, or and our clients honestly they do the best in Q4 out of the remainder of the year. So clearly, being an advertising agency, we're here to help them grow. And as they succeed, we succeed. So, for those of you that are not as familiar with the things that you need to do during this time of the year with Black Friday in regards to targeted ad campaigns and things of that nature, I mean, there's a lot to it. I know we're actually almost at the end of September. We've got a week left in September. The beginning of October is like when we really start to kick some things off. And that's when we need, and I know that sounds like early, right, for Christmas, but it's really not, because Black Friday's at the end of the next month in November. And in order to get great results for our clients, we have to start as far out as possible in regards to our ad campaigns. And so we're going to talk about the actual campaigns themselves, but kind of to continue upon what we talked about last week is we want to talk about, 5 tips that boost conversion rates, right? Because it doesn't help matters if you're able to develop a successful campaign and drive traffic to a site to try to increase conversions, make more sales, if you don't have your website working well and optimized. And that's why we have Bijan in here today.
Yeah, so to expand on that, um we've done a lot of conversion rate tests and have a lot of data based on, millions of users. And we've worked a lot with e-commerce stores and figuring out, the best way to have that user, convert and actually purchase your product. And so, these tips, while, they're great for Black Friday, they're also great for just, every day. June 3rd, Um so these tips are, our go-tos before, we send traffic to any website nowadays. Because every time we've done a conversion rate test using these elements, they always win. They always increase conversions or average order value or revenue or whatever. They always help your website. Um, and so to get right into it, the first tip, first element, first thing you should try implementing into your website, is something called like a sticky add to cart button. And this is actually for mobile devices. Not necessarily, I mean, you can add it to like your desktop website as well, but it's most effective for mobile devices. And you have to remember that like mobile devices take up to 50 to 70% of web traffic nowadays. And so it's very, very important to make sure your entire website should be responsive. And two, you need to make sure that it's easy to navigate. Because with mobile websites, you can end up having really, really long web pages because all of your content starts stacking,
Mm.
on top of each other. Um, and that's even double for product pages when you have, product descriptions, prices, different options, different settings, and customer reviews, the page can start getting really, really long with all these extra information. Um, and so as the user is going through the website, they might get lost. They might lose track where they are on the web page. And so what the sticky add to cart button does is it can do one of two things. So if your product doesn't have any options, right? If it's just there's a price and you click add to cart and you want to take it to checkout, um, that's simple enough. With the sticky add to cart button, that button stays on the screen no matter where you are when you're scrolling.
Mhm.
And so whenever that user decides, like, okay, they're reading the description and then they're like, okay, yes, this is the product that I want. This is the product that I need. They don't have to scroll back up. They can just hit add to cart and it'll be added to their cart. Um, and depending on your preference, you can redirect the user to the cart page afterwards to get them going to check out faster, or maybe there's continue shopping. Um, After that, there's other options to consider. But with the sticky add to cart, you're at least getting that initial like immediate feedback from the user. Um, and it always helps. I don't have the actual like percentage of like the average of every test, every store we've done because we do it on every store, but we definitely see um I want to say it's like between 10 to 20% conversion increase um from what I remember of when we were testing these things rather than just implementing them. Um and that's sort of like how confident we are with these tests as well. Because we don't even like use test data anymore. We just implement these because they're so effective.
Well, I think it's important to note one of the things that you said, a couple of things here that come to mind. One, I know we had mentioned this is, these are tips for Black Friday season, but honestly, these are tips for every season, like you had
Hmm.
mentioned earlier. And when you talk about we do use data, but like for
Yeah.
brand new clients that come in, things like this are adjustments like this to the user interface we know that they're going to be wins regardless, for because a
Hmm.
lot of times, most of our clients haven't implemented these 5 tips. Like they're things that they haven't even thought of because maybe they don't have a full-time developer on staff or web guy focused on UI design and things like that. So I just wanted to make that clear is that
Yeah.
they're easy wins. So we implement them immediately. So then,
Yeah.
of course, then the client feels comfortable with us because we've got wins all of a sudden.
Yeah. We just have that backlog of knowledge saying
Right.
like, okay, yeah, we've tested these thoroughly and we're 99.99% sure that it is an absolute win, regardless of where you're at. Um, and sort of to go into the second one, um and this is sticking with that product page and making sure that product page is as optimized as possible, is featuring user testimonials, not necessarily reviews. And reviews are helpful, but I think reviews are starting to lose their authenticity these days. I think a lot of
Mhm.
people are just like, is this a real review, is this fake? You
Right.
just don't know. And so sort of taking like the reviews you do know are real, or the reviews from customers that you talk to personally, and displaying them as testimonials and like block quotes, or like in a different way that's not just like a review widget with like 5 stars, like, oh, it's a great product. Having like something that looks like, oh, a person actually said this about this product. um this has always done us very well, and it can either be like dynamic or even static. So like you don't need to be constantly adding new reviews or changing out the
Mhm.
reviews on these pages. Because a lot of the time, your product is I mean, not every product, but a lot of products are going to be one-time purchases. So people aren't going to buy it, come back and see the same reviews. They're going to see those reviews and then buy it, and then if they want to come back to your store, they're probably going to be buying another product,
Yeah, for sure.
unless it's, a consumable or something. And then in that case, you might want to look at more dynamic testimonials that change out over time.
Well,
Um,
I know just based off of our personal experience from an agency's perspective, I mean, collecting testimonials are always good. I mean, and we've never crafted testimonials to just make ourselves look good. I just don't believe in that. That's not ethical. I mean, but it is easy for a lot of businesses to be able to do that, to grab a picture online and write something fancy and put it on a page. That being said, like, be ethical, guys. Like, do your best. Reach out to your happy customers. Continue to make it part of your process to continue to have conversation with them after they've purchased, with the objective of trying to get them to do, I mean, essentially a call to action, right? The call to action is, hey, do you mind sending us a review about what of the product that you purchased? But ultimately, I think the best thing, and it's a challenge for us, I'm gonna be honest, like, ultimately having a video is the best, because it's really kind of hard to fake video. People will say, "Oh, well, you can just use AI for that," but you can tell the difference between something that's AI generated and human generated.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, with the video testimonials, like it's definitely better to have the actual video testimonials, but a lot of customers are not going to be like, "Oh yeah, this product was so good.
Yeah,
I'm going to record a video of
right.
myself saying, "Yeah, let's buy this." Um, and then you need like permission to put them on their website and stuff. But
Yeah, all that
there's
stuff.
if you have like a, I would say that that's better for like if you have like an influencer type of deal or something like, oh, there's like a someone with a lot of followers that uses your product, reach out to them, maybe they can give you a video testimonial. It's really just about building that authenticity, that authority, that hey, your product is a good product and actual humans use this product and enjoy it as well. And so, yeah, it's all about that authority, really, because people want to buy from a website that feels trustworthy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it all boils down to anything in marketing is knowing, liking, and trusting whomever it is that you're transacting with, especially if it involves your hard-earned money, right? Like, you've got to feel
Hmm.
confident that what you're buying is going to solve your problem, and be comfortable with that. So these are
Yep.
the type of
Yep.
things that definitely help me when I'm going into buy. I mean, I know when I go to Amazon, one of the first things I look at is how many stars are on whatever product I'm looking at. If it has anything less
Yep.
than 4, typically I don't buy it unless
Yep.
unless that's the only option available.
Yep. But see, that's why people use a lot of fake reviews, and that's why the real test the testimonial widgets feel sorry, look and feel more authentic. Because yeah, when you click on the stars and start reading the reviews, it's like, oh, are some of these are humans, but some of these are bots, or some of these are
Mhm.
fake, or and it's getting harder and harder to tell. And then especially with AI, I'm sure there's AI tools that just flood with good reviews
Yeah,
for your product.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and so, just being able to stand out is what's really important nowadays. Um, but yeah, so let's moving on to tip number three. I would th again sticking on the product page. A lot of these things are going to be on the product page because that's where users are going to be spending the most amount of time on your website.
Mhm.
You know, and I think there's a lot to be said about making your website easy to navigate and making products easy to find. But a lot of our focus is making sure that once they find their product, they're they're convinced to buy it
Mhm.
as quickly as possible. And so one thing we found is, making sure that the friction on that page is as little as possible, making sure that everything to use on that page is as easy as possible. So the user doesn't get frustrated and so the user can get information easily. Um, and so one way we've solved this is by changing how product options are displayed. So on a
Mhm.
lot of websites, you see product options are displayed as drop-down menus. And so like what a drop-down menu is, I'm sure most people know, but it's
Of
like,
course.
a little box that has a piece of text in it. You click on the box, and then there's a bunch of other options that you can click on. And then you select whatever option you're looking for and then the drop down closes, and then you see your option that's now selected. So the issue with this, especially on, e-commerce and product pages, like that's fine for a form. Um, but with product options, what's happening there is the user is clicking what, one, two,
To multiple
three
times.
times, yeah, multiple
Yeah.
times. Um, and before they even click, they don't even have access to all the information. So they'll read like, okay, here's the option for color. You have red selected. Well, what other options do you even have available? They have to click on it, read through all those options.
Mm.
And so what we like to do is change from drop downs to just buttons or to like a
Yeah.
radio checkbox or something like that. Because this way the user can immediately scan the options and see, okay, they immediately have the color I want, they have the size I want, they have whatever option available that I want as a customer. Um, and then on top of that, not only is the information much more easily accessible, now you're reducing it from 2 or 3 clicks to 1 click per option. It's like color, 1 click, size, 1 click, add to cart, done. Um, Which reminds me,
Yeah.
I forgot to mention with the sticky add to cart.
Back to
Uh,
tip
back
one.
to sticky add to cart with product options. Um, if you're scrolling around the page, you can click that sticky add to cart button and it'll scroll you back up to the product options. So you don't
Mhm.
have to as a user scroll all the way back up. Um, but yeah, sorry. I just as I was talking about the product options, I was like, oh, I
It's
forgot
all
to
good.
mention that with number
No, it's
one.
all good. I mean,
Um,
that's the nature when you get into these conversations. You say, "Oh, I needed to reference that other thing here
yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
actually physically going through the process in my head."
yeah. But yeah, so with the buttons, it reduces friction, it adds accessibility, it just makes it so much more easier and performant for the user. Um, and yeah, again, it's something that we've seen really great conversion rate increases too. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, all of these tips that we're giving here today are just, I mean, decreasing user friction, right? The easiest path to getting paid. I mean, I don't, I hate to say it that way, but that's what it boils down to, right? Like,
mhm.
so I mean, it's just like if you go to the grocery store, if you got to run around, a maze to get to the cash register, you're just not gonna buy your stuff there because it's too difficult. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all of
And
these
it's
are, yeah, tips to make that easier, really.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily making it like easier to get paid or like convincing the customer to buy anything. It's like, okay, we're simply making the website better, you know? It's just like if the website is easier to use, it's better, you know?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, not
And
only
it,
for the user, but like the other thing it does too, right? That user, if they're having difficulty going through and purchasing the thing they want, they're going to tell all their friends about it. Oh, I didn't
Mhm.
have a good experience here. So, I mean, there's
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely just, there's a lot that goes into it. Sort of psychologically. I mean, think about how many websites you go to that like take too long to load, and you're just like, it's literally a frustrating experience. And so whenever you go search something similar later and you see that website, you're not going to go there. You're like, oh, that website sucks.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
try something else. Um,
Exactly.
and so like it's not even necessarily about that first time, that first interaction with a buyer. Maybe a buyer is just doing some research on your product for now and they're planning on coming back later. Well, if your website isn't a good experience or they find another website that sells a similar product with a better experience, they're gonna go for that better website.
For sure.
Um, and again, this is something like I like to preface more and more now is you know, the internet you shouldn't act like your website is different from your physical storefront. Like you should put as much time and effort as you do into making your physical storefront like a good experience because that's important to the customer. The experience is important. Um,
Yeah. I mean, if you think back to, I mean, gosh, the internet's, buying online, it's been around for quite some time now. I remember in its infancy. But like the reality of it is people purchase online because they don't want to go to the stores anymore. I don't know
Mhm.
about the towns that you guys live in, but like in our small town here in Morgantown, the malls are terrible. Like not only do you not want to go to a place like that, but like it's just inconvenience, right? Like if you can walk around with your phone make a purchase, you just want to get it over with real quick because that's one less thing you have to do. So,
Yeah. Especially if you know what you're looking for too.
oh yeah, and
Um,
especially with mobile, like pre-mobile, the way it is now with smartphones. I mean, we would actually have to physically go and sit down at our computer, which, honestly, back in those days was less laptops and more like desktops. So it's even easier now. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to be driving around town to pick up my kids and think of something, and as soon as I stop, I'm buying it, and for my phone, boom, done.
yep. Yep. Yeah. No, it's times change. Yeah, times change quick. And so like when I still see like outdated websites, I'm like, guys, come on, it's 2024. Let's almost 2025. Let's get with the times.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So you use buttons instead of drop downs.
Mhm.
Super, super valuable. What else do you have on the list?
So now moving away from the product page, those are my favorite to do on the product page. But before you hit the product page, a lot of the times you're going to be on like the category or collection pages. Um, so what we like to do is sort of highlight the best products of those collections. Or maybe as a business owner, you're like, okay, I want to highlight these new products, or these are the best sellers, or um, there's certain products that uh you want to focus on to sell, whether it's high margin products or, new products, like I said. One thing that we found is really, really helpful is just showcasing those at the top of your collection pages or category pages.
Mhm.
Uh, so like one of our clients, I was running a split test for them. It was just a normal category page. It just listed all of their products for that category. I just ran a script that selected, it was like two or three of the products from their list that were like their customizable products. And so they're higher margin, they're um, but because they were in like the middle of a list, they're harder for users to get to. And so
Mhm.
what my script does is it looks for those products and it moves them, or it doesn't move them, it copies them into like its own little section, its own little row at the top, and it's like featured products or like bestsellers or whatever. Um, and so this is really, really helpful. And with this specific split test, this increased revenue, not conversion rate, revenue by 4.7% for this client. Um,
4.7%.
yes, yeah, just by showing the products that they already had in like a different way.
Oh wow.
And so, um, yeah, I mean,
Huh.
it was honestly a shock to me. I was not expecting it to increase that much revenue. Because like they didn't do anything else. And for me it took 5-10 minutes. So it's literally like these really tiny things that take so little time. Um, yeah, I think it took me less than 30 minutes to like uh think about how I was going to implement it, code it out, and actually add it to the website. And then the test, I think I ran the test for like 2 months or something. It
Yeah, I
was it
think
was a long test, but I was like, I just saw the numbers keep going up, and I was like, this is crazy. I'm like,
that, what
and
that reminds me of. That reminds me of when you go to Walmart or Target or anything like that, where they have the end caps, right? Like, oh, we
hmm
we want to promote these donuts or these flowers.
yes.
They're normally in the donut section, but no, we're going to put the Halloween donuts at the end of the aisle where
hmm
most of I mean, really, right? It's about putting the things that you want to showcase. And honestly, the smartest clients of ours do it when you're putting the ones with the best profit margin on the most highly trafficked area to
hmm
increase those conversions, rather than putting them at the bottom of the barrel, right?
Yep, yep. Or just like in the mix with everything else. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
that's what I mean. Yeah.
you know what your customer wants, so show them the best option for them.
Hmm.
And yeah, no, it was honestly, and we've done this test for other clients before. Um and it's been successful. But this most recent client was just a big almost 5% revenue increase
Oh
from
my God,
nothing
that's a
pretty
lot.
much.
And
Yeah.
another thing you can do with that too is not just the high profit more profitable products, but like I was walking into, I keep using Walmart with my kids the other day, and I walked by and they had like a big bucket full of seasonal soap, or
Hmm.
whatever, and it's 99 cents, whatever. I mean,
Yep.
so if you've got overstock, like an abundance of something, maybe you have product from the previous season that you want to get rid of, put it up front so people can just add it to the cart. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just
Do
like when
little
you go through
upsells.
the register. How many times when you go through the register, me personally, have I've added a pack of M&Ms to my,
Hmm.
I didn't go in the store for M&Ms, but all of a sudden I've added a product or two, and your receipt, your
Exactly.
ticket ends up being more.
Exactly. Small, tiny upsales. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So, well,
Um,
yeah, that's a really interesting way to think about it. 5% is pretty good.
yeah, yeah, no. Well, the reason again I keep saying I'm shocked by it is because again, it was like they had these products already and it was just displaying them better,
Hmm.
displaying them in a more consumable way that, reduces friction. It makes it easier for the user. It makes the website better. Um, and so yeah, we're working on other improvements for that website, and so it's pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Um, yeah. Um, but yeah, so for the last tip, the fifth and final tip, and this is gonna come out as like the most basic tip, but it's also the most important, and
Yeah.
it is to offer free shipping, and that is especially true on Black Friday.
Hmm.
Even if it's free shipping with a threshold, like oh, spend $50 or $75, free shipping is like psychologically the best offer you can offer any customer.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's because of that sort of upfront value. Like when you add a product to cart, you're like, okay, this product is going to cost me, $50. And then you go to checkout and you're like, shipping costs 15. No way.
I
Like,
know.
and so like a customer will always be like, oh, I'd rather pay $65 plus free shipping rather than $50 plus $15 shipping.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and with Black Friday, you definitely want to do, bonus offers like, oh, buy two products and get free shipping or something like that.
Right.
But it is really that like human psychology thing where it's just like, you're missing out or you're not convincing them in the right way if you're not offering free shipping.
I remember the days when free shipping, I mean, so you're right. This is one of the most basic, and it's also one of the ones that have been around for a long time now. But I remember the days online when Amazon started to do free shipping with Prime or whatever. And then all of a sudden we're like, everybody was like, oh my God, I'm going to go buy from them. Well, I mean, they sucked from the market into their platform. And in the smaller businesses, because I've been doing e-commerce for a long time, man, like 20 years in some capacity, I've worked for somebody or myself doing this stuff. And I just remember the smaller businesses being like, well, we can't afford to do that. Well, you can't afford to not do that, because in a world where people are not going to drive and spend their gas to go to the store anymore, and it's super convenient, you just need to adjust your pricing, and that's going to be a little bit hurtful. It's going to hurt a little bit in the initial forefront of the process, but over time the whole market adjusts accordingly, and you've made up for that within the pricing of your product.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think, like you said, it feels like there's like this initial hurt value, but I do think like, there's going to be the customers that are going to be like, oh, but I get free shipping. So it's like fine. Um, and with increasing your price, that gives you a little bit more wiggle room with, other sales and other discounts and other ways of
Yeah.
convincing people like, hey, my product is worth buying. So if you're charging $65, or even 70, so you have the extra $5 to be like,
Hmm.
hey, get $2 off your purchase or whatever, to sort of like make the perception of your deal, your offer better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that's definitely a big one. I mean, I myself included, it's rare do I purchase anything without free shipping
Yep.
anymore. I mean,
Unless
I've
it's the
purchased,
only option.
yeah, like, that's pretty much it. Or there are some things too, like I'm pretty into fitness and working out and things like that. And I have a really nice home gym, but like I'm not gonna want to go spend money on shipping for a product that for weights, for example, dumbbells. I mean, it's going to cost me more, equal to, or just or more than the product we're shipping. So in those type of
Mhm.
situations, I am willing to drive to the store or buy through Facebook Marketplace or whatever. But if you've got something where the weight of the physical product is not that much, then I mean, you're, in my personal opinion, you're crazy not to offer free shipping.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but like if anyone wants to learn more about like these tips, we wrote about it in a blog post on our website. So that'll be in the description of this video. But otherwise, like, yeah, again, these are not just for Black Friday. These are going to help out your store any time of the year, any day, anytime, and worldwide. Like these are what we found from all of our split tests and all of our data that like very effective, and have always increased conversion or revenue.
Yeah, and it's just a really good starting point. So if you haven't taken
Mhm.
these type of things into consideration, and they're not that difficult to implement. I mean, they're pretty straightforward. So like, a bunch of our clients were already, if they haven't implemented this type of stuff already, we're trying to get that stuff, recommend that it gets taken care of, whether it's us or them. It's only going to make things better. So we've gone over the 5 tips are implementing a sticky add to cart button on mobile devices, super important there. Um, Feature user testimonials on the product page, so get as many people talking as nicely as possible about your product. Use of radio buttons instead of drop downs menus in your custom options. Collection page product highlights, so just like the end cap in your retail store, put them in front, up front at your online end caps, so to speak, and offer free shipping. Those are the 5 big tips that we're recommending that you guys implement here as soon as possible, to take advantage of the increased traffic you're going to have here real soon.
Yep. Yep.
So, so cool. All right, BGM. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I know this is a little bit of a shorter episode this time around, but I think it's super valuable. Again, it's not about how long we can make the episode. If we can condense this into 15 minutes, that would be awesome. I think the value that we're providing, our audience out there that is seeing this stuff is really important to us. I mean, we're always trying to give as much as we can as opposed to take, try to help our people out. So cool, man.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, thanks a lot, guys, for showing up here on the most recent episode of the Impact Podcast. I know that you guys, your time is valuable, but we appreciate you guys coming. If you haven't had a chance yet, go check our website out and the URL on screen here, thinkimpact.com. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us. Put your questions in the comments of this YouTube post. Anything you can do to make your experience and your online store presence better and increase conversions, that's what we're here to help you do. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week on the next episode of the Impact Podcast. Take care.